We are back and we are here continuing to discuss the biggest story in American soccer circles. It is without question the appointment or the soon-to-be appointment of Mauricio Pochettino as USMNT manager, head coach, call it what you will. Nothing's official yet. By the time many of you watch this video, hopefully it has been made official. Hopefully we have heard from US Soccer and we've heard from Mauricio Pochettino. I'm anticipating this big gala press conference and we'll sit there mesmerized as we hear Mauricio Pochettino say that I am, in fact, going to be leading this U.S. team through the 2026 World Cup. We'll see what it looks like afterwards, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If you didn't hear what I thought about Mauricio Pochettino, it's all documented in my last video. Check it out. I like what everyone should be doing backflips about the fact that this man is in charge of our national team program. He is, I don't think it's with any question, the highest profile coach, head man in international football. When I talk about international football, I talk about the national teams. There is not a coach anywhere who is bigger than Poch. There are very few coaches in the club game bigger than Poch. He's in the top 10. I would think he's close to the top 5, just thinking about the clubs that he has been in charge of. I mean, he is a household name. He is the biggest star involved with U.S. Soccer. I mean, is it Christian Pulisic? I think more people worldwide know who Mauricio Pochettino is than any American player. Probably any before or current. It's crazy. We've never had, Jurgen Klinsmann was a huge deal. But nothing like this. This is truly remarkable. We embrace it. We're excited about it. There's a few things we're going to talk about that would make it even more perfect. In particular where he may be based, because this is a huge opportunity for that very reason. You want to squeeze Pochettino as much as you can. I know it's Poch, and you just he's calling the shots. He's calling the shots, and that's fine. But some things do have to happen. So this is what we kind of know. We have not heard from anyone on US Soccer or from Pochettino. We've seen some publicity here, and not even much publicity. There's a few photos here and there. The big question is that his time with Chelsea is certainly holding it up. And everything we're hearing, and I read a lot of articles, in particular from David Ornstein and Adam Crafton on The Athletic, just to give them credit, because this is where I got some of this information from, that there is a severance package. He left 1 year into a 2-year plus a third-year option with Chelsea. Chelsea are accommodating for this. I think there's a rule in place where he could move to another club if that contract was terminated or for whatever reason, other than a team in the top 6 in the Premier League, which makes a lot of sense. And anywhere else, I think Chelsea wouldn't have a problem. Mauricio Pochettino is going somewhere on the, basically the other side of the world, literally and figuratively with this job from Chelsea. There is a verbal commit from US Soccer. The money with regards to Chelsea, from what we're also hearing from sources, the money owed to Chelsea if he takes another position, if a coach who's under contract takes a job, then the buyout changes a little bit. This is above my pay grade. And it is something that with regards to that, we would see maybe some accommodations made where, Chelsea don't have to pay as much in a payout or Poch doesn't have to pay Chelsea or something like that if he takes another position. So we're going to get into all of that moving forward, some of the loose ends and what we can expect, what would like to see immediately and in the not too distant future with Pochettino, and again what he's going to bring and what we can expect when he takes charge about shaping these players. And we'll get into more depth in that here on the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. There's one with Rodolfo Landeros. We will, about Leagues Cup and Liga MX and everything that's happening here stateside. We'll also get more into the Pochettino story this week, so stay tuned for a new pod coming out soon. Like and subscribe us here. Hit that button so we can continue to grow this audience. I love chatting with you guys. Leave a comment or whatever you want. A question, a comment. I'll be happy to get back to you. You can even make fun of some of the videos, which some of you like to, but you're crazy. Because I speak the gospel and I'm the OG. So let's get into it. Still, we want to know what US Soccer has said or will say to Pochettino to make him feel whole, and why Mauricio Pochettino would take this job. Because deep down inside, I know I'm not the only one, I find it hard to believe that he's taken this job, considering he's under consideration with all these incredible jobs that he could take at the club level, which pays a lot more money. This is a guy who has the experience just in the last few years coaching PSG with Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, and Chelsea. These are two of the biggest clubs in the world. He is still on that top tier. He was mentioned for the English national team. He was mentioned for Manchester United. His next club job, if he wanted it, was not going to go back to a mid-table Premier League side or somewhere in Spain. It was going to be for one of the top 10 or 12 jobs on the planet. He was the big name whenever a team, just like he got the Chelsea gig, whenever a big job comes available. He is that highly regarded. So pinch me, pinch you, the fact that he's here. But what could have been said and what went through Mauricio Pochettino's mind, not that I know, but we're going to take an educated guess as to why he would take this gig. Now, Greg Berhalter, who they parted ways with July 10th, and Emma Hayes, because equal pay with US Soccer, they make just over $2 million a year, which is a good living. It's not Mauricio Pochettino money. We all know that. So the offer from US Soccer has to be better. I don't want to get into the details because I just don't know. I don't know, $4 million? US Soccer, can they dig into their pockets for that? And from what I understand, they don't have to bring up Emma Hayes to that money. This would be separate. So there's a red tape with US Soccer, but there's different ways to make that money up. Some of them are with the sponsors. And to make my point about why I would love Mauricio Pochettino to be American-based is that he could help with the sponsors, most of which are American-based, not Adidas, but Apple, Fanatics, I forgot the beer sponsor, but all of these that are American-based. You put Mauricio Pochettino, I know he's not going to be a salesman for us. It's about the soccer. It's about the results for 2026. But if it's about making the deal work and getting these sponsors to chip in a little bit more so that we can have them, which I think that's obviously been discussed already, then Pochettino's got to roll up his sleeves a little bit for his benefit to make it make sense. Because again, I don't know if it's, these are guys that can make 8, 9, 10 million at the club level. So it's a big pay drop. That's why these big name clubs don't pop up on these national teams. A, because they don't have access to the players. It's a different game altogether. It is also, you can't get the money. So even big nations like England or Brazil or France, they are generally going to err on the side of, being pretty frugal, so to speak. And you just look at the coaches that are in place in the big nations. The guys who have won things, Luis de la Fuente, who won the Euros with Spain, not a high-profile coach. Lionel Scaloni, not a high-profile coach. He's getting there because of what he did with Argentina, but at the time he wasn't. Even Gareth Southgate, when he took over the England job, not a high-profile coach. When you look at all the national teams in the Euros and Copa America, I was the Colombia coach. His name escapes me, but he's not a high-profile coach. He was coaching in Peru. So this is such an outlier with regards to Pochettino coming, and that is a big, a big part of this, making it all work and making sure where Pochettino makes sense, even though he doesn't. And what he's going to make, none of those guys are making that kind of crazy money, but he still has to be made whole. Now, I also believe, and I also want to say this, because we're waiting for the appointment, and USA has games coming up on September 7th against Canada, New Zealand against September 10th. The news is out there. I don't know if it's official, but Mikey Varas, who is in the U.S. system, will be the man in charge for those games, for this U.S. team. The first international dates since the Copa America, not including, obviously, the Olympics, which is a different tournament, different player pool. But this is, he is not going to be in charge there. And that's, just a couple of weeks away. So I don't know if you want to rush him in there. It's a missed opportunity. We all would have loved to see Pochettino on the sideline there, but the big picture is that he's here with this program and he will move forward with that. Why would he take this job? I have a theory, and it has to do with PSG and Chelsea. I think that took a lot out of him. I think what he had to deal with PSG, with these egos, with this huge ownership group that is very controlling. And that's why I expect US Soccer not to be as controlling. And that is part of the appeal. Again, the ball is in Pochettino's court. Dealing with Chelsea and another big ownership group. And I don't know if you saw this video, and I don't know if it was intentional, but he kind of skipped Todd Bowley in the handshake line. That had to take a toll on him. And I wonder if he has been a little disillusioned with the club game, the big-time club game, because this is a guy, he is very salt of the earth. He was with BBC. As a commentator, you can hear it. You see it with him. He loves the game. He is a disciple of Marcelo Bielsa, who is now an international coach, maybe the biggest profile coach other than Pochettino in the game right now. And I wonder if he just needs to maybe step away from that. It certainly I can assure you, put a bad taste in his mouth after everything he's dealt with in the Tottenham Hotspur situation, which didn't end well. But you see when it was about the football how much he loved it and bringing this team up. When he was with Southampton and Espanyol, how it was about the team and bringing it up in a more innocent time for him. I can't imagine the pressure of being in charge at PSG, Chelsea, sitting in your office, fielding calls and all of this, and all these chefs in the kitchens that want to get their 2 cents in. That can't be fun for Poch. And I wonder if that's at play here, and he probably said, this is something that can get me away. Look, Jurgen Klopp stepped away from Liverpool because it became too much. It is too much for these guys. This is a hard job. So I get the feeling that has got something to do with why he said yes. Because him saying yes still doesn't make any sense to us. For us who have been here with US Soccer for so long. So if he had to go through that hell and high water business, good. Because it got him here. And I think he wants to be refreshed. And this is the way to do it. And that means US Soccer has to be a little hands off. They have to say, whatever you want, you're in charge. Yes, yes, yes. One of those things would be coaching from Europe, which we've never really had. It's a bit of a slippery slope. And if Pochettino, one of his bullet points and one of these things that will not be discussed is that he wants to be based in Europe. Fine. Whatever is required to get Pochettino's signature on the paper, that's fine. People will say that being based in Europe, you have access to these American players, of which there are several. And it doesn't mean that he's going to be in Christian Pulisic's condominium, I don't know, wherever Christian Pulisic estate. I mean, he's going to be in Europe and he can go to games. And when you go to games, you watch the players, but it's more about talking to their coaches, talking to the clubs, get a feel about that, visit them in training if you can, and watch a game. But you're better off wherever you are watching games at home, watching tape, which is what Pochettino's going to be doing by and large between now and, say, the summer of 2025. That's going to be his number one to get familiar with his player base. Call me old-fashioned, wish he was here. And I think it'll make him do his job better. And more importantly, it would get us into a better place. Because I don't know what it is required with Pochettino, if it's 2026 and we'll find soon enough and he's out of here. This is just, or does he want to get better? Does he want American soccer to get better? Does he want to change the culture? Does he want to energize the sport in the United States? Which is, he can. This is a great opportunity. Every day he is here in the U.S., we get better. Every time he calls the shots in the U.S., if someone in U.S. Soccer says this and Pochettino says something else, Pochettino takes precedence. He can do that. There's some things that would encourage him. Lionel Messi, another Newell's Old Boys guy, is here in the U.S. The Argentine national team is going to be training there. Maybe that's a bit of a pull. It doesn't really matter where he lives, but he has to log time in the U.S. for this job to go well. For him to engage the sponsors, for him to get people excited for the 2026 World Cup. He's got to spend long stretches here. So that is part of it. And putting himself out into the media, because it's one thing for the U.S. soccer media, but if Pochettino talks, he is so charming, the big media is going to get involved here. And if the big media gets involved, you get people in the seats. And that is something that is lacking. And that is something Mauricio Pochettino can really help with. Is he obligated to help with? No. It's about results. But it could be so much more. And Poch knows that. And maybe that's part of the appeal about coming here and really approaching this opportunity. He can do it. He loves the World Cup. The World Cup is here in 2026. And we will see if that is a draw. I think it is. I really do. And I think he wants to be based. I mean, where will he be based? London? I mean, that's where he was last at Chelsea. You have access to a few American players there. I mean, but where are you going to live? You're going to live in London. You still have to get in a plane to go see the players in Italy or Spain or wherever. The Netherlands, you still have to do that. It's a shorter flight. But in this day and age, with this technology, you can watch all the players. You can get all the footage from home, wherever that will be. With regards to those players, we know he's very good with young players. And when I say young, let's say under the age of 22. And this is the group that I put together that are under 22. Joe Scally, Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna, Johnny Cardoso, Milik Tillman, Ricardo Pepi, Flo Balogun, Kevin Paredes, Griffin Yao. I think that's most of it. Paxton Aronson. And then a few under 23. So that's a good amount of 22-year-old players. If he's really good with the young players, that next group are here in the States. 2019, 18 that haven't made that jump for Europe. And there's this separation with the national team in MLS. And I don't know where people get this thinking that MLS is calling the shots for the national team. Is there some interference? Sure. But that's more reason for Pochettino to come here and throw his weight around. But he needs to get acquainted with MLS. Because most of these players, these young players, they came from MLS. MLS is connected to this national team. Our young American players, which we can expose to Mauricio Pochettino, are here. So I just wanted to get some of this off my chest, because I know people are up in arms about it doesn't matter where he's based. And if whatever Mauricio Pochettino wants, that's what goes. And that's what matters the most. But if we want to talk about where he can get the most out of his being based, it's here. Because he still has to get on a plane to see those players. Here, he can do so much more, wherever it is in Chicago, Atlanta, just getting out and getting ready for a World Cup, which is here. A reminder, the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Like and subscribe us here. We'll continue the conversation with Pochettino over the days and weeks ahead. And hopefully we have a video with his official press conference. Imagine that.